Anterior pelvic tilt has nothing to do with back pain. There are no studies that prove that the curve in your low back and the position of your pelvis cause low back pain. Back pain just goes away by itself, so you should just wait and relax and hope that the back pain eventually goes away, because the majority of cases do, except when they don't, in which case we can just operate on your spine and fix the stuff that's wrong with your back. If that sounds ridiculous to you, then you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to show you 2 exercises you can do to start to fix your anterior pelvic tilt. It's true that anterior pelvic tilt doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have back pain, but by the end of this video, you'll understand why doing a few stretches and exercises can go a long way towards relieving your low back pain, especially if you have what's known as anterior pelvic tilt. So if you're ready, let's get ready to think right, move right, and feel right. So first, if you don't know what anterior pelvic tilt is, it's when your pelvis is tilted forward like so. So if you imagine you've got this bowl of a pelvis, you've got it filled with water, you're dumping it all forward onto your toes. If you want to get into a more neutral position, you want to be able to tilt your pelvis back without also doing a little cheat where you bend your knees. Now, there are a lot of muscles that cross the hip joint that attach to the pelvis and that also attach to the low back, and that affect the way your low back and your pelvis are positioned. If these muscles are stuck in a contracted position, in a shortened position, it can be really hard to get back to a more neutral pelvic tilt. And while that won't kill you and it won't lead to cancer, having muscles that are pulling your bones into constant close proximity to each other makes it a lot more likely you're going to be jamming those bones into each other. You might be pinching on muscles and other soft tissues, and it can get really uncomfortable over time if your body hasn't figured out a way to navigate it. If you are a gymnast who's done a whole lot of back bends and bridges, and you can go into crazy contorted positions, then it might not really bother you that much. But for many other people who haven't adequately trained their spines to be so flexible, it can be really tough. And even for gymnasts and yogis and yoginis who are doing back bends a lot, surfers like me, this low back can get really tight and jammed up over the years and years of constant hyperextension. So if you take a look at yourself from the side, either in the mirror or with a picture on your camera, and you notice that you have this huge curve here where your tail is sticking out, you got duck butt, and you got this curve in your lower back, then the 2 exercises I'm going to show you in this video are going to help you restore your spinal curvature so it's no longer in hyperextension and can come into a little more flexion, and you'll be able to get your pelvis tucked just a little bit more towards a more neutral position. Are these suitable for beginners? Yes, they are, but when you start any new exercise, remember that slow is safe and fast is foolish. So take these exercises slowly, pay close attention, don't jam or push or force yourself into any painful ranges of motion. You got to go slow and start learning how to feel the muscles lengthening as we're stretching them and working when we're working them. If you're stuck in anterior pelvic tilt, you'll notice that your spine always looks like this, like your belly button's being pulled down towards the floor, and you find it really hard to flatten that out or even round your low back. And yes, it is natural to be able to round your lower back. Go watch your nephew, your niece, your child, and see what happens when they bend over to pick something up. You'll notice that their lower back bends really easy, no problem. They pick things up and they don't herniate anything because the muscles along their spine are strong enough to move the vertebrae safely without things going poof. Now, to restore this for you, you're gonna grab a chair and you're gonna put your hands on the chair, or you can put them on the back of the chair so you're a little bit higher, and you're going to just check in with yourself. See what you notice. If you are somebody who's done a lot of powerlifting, or you are coached to always keeping that low back curvature, you might notice that it's stuck here. What you're gonna do is think about a string attached to either the tailbone or to the back of your waistband, pulling down. I'm gonna let you bend your knees a little bit so it helps you find that posterior tilt. And then you're gonna go back to your neutral position and then try to find that posterior pelvic tilt. You can use your abdominals and your butt muscles to try to pull the tailbone down towards the floor. While you're trying to posteriorly pelvic tilt, make sure that your feet don't start moving to the outside edges and lifting your arches off the floor. I want you to keep the big toe down. I want you to feel like you're on the inside edge of your feet. Both feet should be pressing down towards the arches. You should feel like you're bringing your knees a little closer together rather than letting them spin out to the side. This is going to stretch and strengthen some muscles in the backside here that are often used to pulling your knees out and spinning your hips into external rotation. So fight that. Put your feet wherever is comfortable. They can be whatever width, and you can play with different widths over time. And keep that weight more towards the inside edge as you try to posteriorly pelvic tilt. Go slowly and gently. You're gonna feel stuff stretching. You might feel it in the gluteal muscles, high up on the attachments around the ilium, which the ilium is the elephant ear portion of the pelvis. So this is one ilium, this is the other ilium. You have two ilia. And are you okay? You good? Okay. Did you brush your teeth this morning? Yeah, well, neither did I. You're just gonna spend a minute working on this, feeling the glutes contract, feeling that whole area go into posterior pelvic tilt, flexion of the lower back. If you're really stiff back here, you might feel muscles along the lower back stretching open to allow for that curl. Don't push that hard. Be gentle with it. See what kind of range you can get that feels safe and comfortable. As you come back into anterior pelvic tilt, make sure you're still going slowly and safely. You're gonna feel different muscles contracting around your hip joint to control that, and make sure the knees are not drifting away from each other the whole time. So this is a coordination drill and also a stretch and strengthening exercise at a very low, gentle level. Oh no, bro. As you get better at this, I encourage you to shift your weight more onto one foot. Again, keeping weight more towards the inside edge and not letting the knees shift out. So you're keeping that lined up, you're shifting your weight over to that side, and then you can do that posterior, anterior, and feel the muscles all around that hip, figuring out how to do this. All these muscles high up here you might feel stretching. Just go gentle and spend about a minute if you're doing one side at a time. If you're doing two sides at a time like I showed you in the beginning, then just make sure to spend about a minute practicing this safely. Doing that drill once, twice, or even more a day can be a great way to remind your body that it should be able to get posterior pelvic tilt and spinal flexion. The next exercise I'm going to show you is going to increase a little more strength in those muscles once you feel ready to try it. Maybe you should just take a rest, dude. Now, before I show you the next exercise, I want you to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I am raising money for the Wounded Warriors Project from now to the end of 2024. For every single like and every new subscriber we get from now to the end of 2024, we're going to be donating 1 cent to the Wounded Warriors Project, and I want to give over $5,000, so I need you to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. Also, I want you to remember that with any new exercise, you gotta go slow, so please, when you see me do this, you do the easiest possible version and go slowly and conservatively. Because if you don't listen to that warning, if you don't pay close attention, you will hurt yourself. And I don't want to read those comments down in the comment section about how you hurt yourself. I want to read comments about how you started to stretch things and feel better. So drop those comments down below. Now here is exercise number 2. You're going to be up against the wall. Your feet, I'm going to have you start with just a comfortable distance away. This is maybe like your arm length away. And then you're going to work on curling. So we're curling the spine. We have a little bit of knee bend. We have the weight towards the inside edge of our feet. And then we are curling down towards the floor. You're going to find some spot that feels like a stretch. You want to keep your butt against the wall. It's going to be sliding a little bit. Keep the knees about the same the whole time. You want to feel the spine figuring out how to curl. You might feel restricted up in the middle. You might feel it up near the neck. You might feel it, hopefully feel it in the low back. Wherever you feel it is fine. Don't push it. Don't try to stretch it even harder because you'll probably go bing and hate yourself. So if you need help, use something like a chair in front of you and just take some of the load off. What's happening here is you're training the muscles along the sides of your spine, the spinal extensors, to lengthen. And because you're doing this with no help or just a little bit of help, you're training those muscles to eccentrically contract. That means they lengthen while still controlling the bone position. If they were to fully relax, you'd just be like, and crash into the floor. But because your muscles actually haven't practiced lengthening and controlling a lot of these angles, you can't. So you're going to your limit, you're feeling stuff at its limit, and that's cool. Breathe, Stay at the bottom for like 5, 10 seconds, 30 seconds when you feel really competent, but 5 to 10 seconds in the beginning. And then just try to stay calm and controlled. And then you're going to do it again. Curling calmly, slowly. Use help if you need it to feel safe. It is not a contest. You're not trying to impress me or anybody else. You're just trying to see how far you can get, allowing your spine to curl, to curve and flex the way it is naturally designed to. Okay? And then back up. You can play with the foot position. Having it closer to the wall, I find, really helps leverage and work those muscles a little bit harder. You've just got to find the sweet spot because your dimensions might be different than mine. The areas of stiffness and tightness might be different from me. So you play around with what feels safe, good, and comfortable. Now, if you feel like you're getting stuck or you feel like I've plateaued, I've made some good progress, but I'm like kind of stuck and I'm not getting anywhere. I feel safe, but I just feel stuck. Then this next tip is going to help you out. You are going to take a light weight, 5 pounds probably, maybe 10 pounds. If you're a big guy and you do a lot of powerlifting, lift a lot of weights, you may need to use heavier weights to overcome the tension in your big fat butt muscles and spine muscles. So if you are that person, you know who you are and you can probably trust your own judgment. But what you're going to do is take the weight, that light weight for anybody except for the weightlifters. You're going to be, let me find my foot position. You're going to have your knees slightly bent. You're going to be curling. Weight is on the inside edge of your feet. You're going to have your knees slightly bent and you're going to let the weight pull you down towards the floor. Keep thinking about that posterior tilt so you're not just going into that big arch, right? You're keeping that posterior pelvic tilt. You're letting the muscles along your spine stretch, keeping it under control and feeling safe. If at any point it doesn't feel safe, it doesn't feel under control, like you'll hurt yourself, then you are doing it wrong. This should be gradual progression until you get to the floor and back up. Obviously, when you first start, you're not going to get to the floor, or you might, but probably not. So you get to where you get. Hang out there about 5 to 10 seconds. As you get more comfortable, you hang out longer, and you come back up. I would recommend doing repetitions, whether you're doing it with weight or not. I would recommend doing repetitions around 5 to 10. Go easily within your comfort level, so don't feel like you're forcing yourself and you're straining and because that's not what we're after. We're relaxing deeper into this position, and then as we come up, you're strengthening those muscles that just lengthened. As you go down, that weight is making those muscles work hard, and then as you come up, those muscles are working into concentric contraction, eccentric, and then concentric. And that's going to help you reprogram your movement patterns. So especially if you are somebody who's been at the gym a lot and you learn that you can only have your spine in this anterior pelvic tilt position, you're going to start to restore the hip muscles and the spinal muscles so that they can actually safely handle being in a curled position, being in posterior pelvic tilt. And that's going to open up other options for you when you then start loading onto one leg at a time. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll talk about that in another video. So you can do both of these exercises once, twice, 3 times, whatever feels good for you per day, so that you are reminding your body that this is a range of motion you want to restore. You don't have to do it intensely, and you shouldn't do it super intensely more than once or twice a week. So don't try to push this with heavy weights. Don't try to really force yourself into a deeper position. Give your body time to gradually adapt, and it will pay dividends in the long run. As you get more comfortable, remember that you can add weight to that second exercise to get yourself a little bit deeper. Just make sure you use a weight that feels safe, because otherwise you'll hurt yourself. I said that before, I'm saying it again, please pay attention. These 2 exercises should be a big help for your anterior pelvic tilt, but if you want more help, be sure to check out the link that's going to be here on screen and in the description box down below. I've got a full program to help you with your anterior pelvic tilt, so be sure to check it out. It's money back guaranteed. I tried to make it as effective as possible, but I'm not perfect, and it can't be a perfect fit for 100% of people out there in the world. So if it doesn't work for you, I just give you your money back, so there's no risk to you. Give it a try. If it helps you, I'm going to be happy. You're going to be happy. If it doesn't help you, I'm not going to be happy, but at least you'll have your money back, which means you'll hopefully be happy. Don't forget the Wounded Warriors thing. Thanks for reminding me. Also, click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. We are donating 1 cent to the Wounded Warriors Project from now to the end of 2024 for every single like and new subscriber we get on this channel. So please click the like button. Yeah, seriously, click the like button. You don't have to be that pushy. If you have anterior pelvic tilt, you should also watch these videos right here. If you want to see more videos on anterior pelvic tilt, drop me a comment. Let me know what you learned from this video. Like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks. Life shouldn't.